Hey there, hi there, ho there, out in spray wash land. Hey, Ray's running out to his truck to grab something, but I wanted to go ahead and get it on, maybe get some people on here before we get started in discussing some different things and going back and forth about some stuff. Going to be kind of an exciting evening as we get started. I'm going to say that Tanya's not going to be joining us. There she is. Is that her in the background? She's sneaking in there. There she is.
Hi.
I didn't think you were going to be joining us.
Hello. He's coming back in, but there is something that I thought that we just learned, and it's been kind of a shocker that I'm thinking maybe we should pass along regarding. And Ray just walked in. He's looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm good about
him. He don't mean nothing.
Okay. So I wanted to, and I'm getting off topic, but anyway, on
we haven't even started yet, so there is no topic yet.
So we have an HOA. It's 178 duplex units. Some of them are single family, doesn't matter. We've cleaned them for years, and so this year they have a new HOA president, and we've cleaned for them forever. I don't even know, Ray, what, 10 years, 8 years, whatever, it doesn't matter. So the association who manages the HOA we've dealt with again for all this time, never had a problem. Well, this year they have a new HOA president who is what's the term? Just extremely. Can I cuss? I don't know. No, I'm going to do that. Yeah. And yeah, very, very. So she has really held up part of her payment due to walking around, just looking and pointing out things that weren't even included in the scope to begin with. So I have to go back to in our original paperwork that always put in there that the walk around basically has to be done, or approval at the end of each week. At the end of each week, have someone that's coming to approve the work. We were there for about a month. You know, it's a big property.
And they never had anybody approve the work, and now they're arguing.
Well, and now, even though we had one small callback on a deck, which 178 units. Okay.
That's pretty good. Amazing. Yeah.
Well, actually, the property manager has approved the work. Apparently, the board has approved the work.
And it's this one president who is like a Napoleon. She's,
is now saying, "Oh, well, people are unhappy," but nobody can find out the people that are unhappy.
Right.
Like the board doesn't know. The board hasn't spoken to anybody that's unhappy. The HOA managers haven't spoken to anybody that's unhappy. But the president apparently has a list of people who are unhappy who they're not sharing anything with.
No, she didn't have a list. No,
well,
she
said
literally going around to scopes of work that we weren't even wasn't included. So anyway, that's all I have. Sorry.
That's all right. Look at that hat. There's two of them, Tim. Just so you know. Dad's asking, how short is that guy?
Lord.
Too short. All right. So anyhow, before we get into it, we're going to talk about a couple things. The first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk a little bit. This is going to be very brief, and then we're going to get into what we're talking about tonight. But the first thing I want to mention again is the huge convention. And I want to talk about it because I had a phone call today, and it was a negative phone call pretty much about the huge convention. And I've had the phone call a couple of times. And so I want to talk about it. I want to get it out there. I want to put it out in the open, right? Because Ray and I promote the huge convention. And the phone calls that I've had have been about, there's no information about the huge convention. Should I sign up for the huge convention? Is the huge convention still happening and all this? Look, this is the same thing that has happened year over year over year, okay? There's actually a reason for them waiting until they make the announcements of who the big speakers are and who the breakout speakers are. They have reasons for why they do that. And so they're not going to make that announcement just yet, but they'll be making it fairly soon, I think, as far as that's concerned. So should you still sign up for the huge convention? Absolutely. there's no real reason that it will not be a success because it's always been a success. It's been a great program and platform. So remember, get there on the 17th. The huge convention is August 19th and 20th, but you get there on the 17th. That way you take the early classes on the 18th, and you're ready to go for the 19th and the 20th. So there you go. And then also, don't forget, we got the PWNA coming up September 8th through the 11th in New Orleans. I may or may not make it just because I'm taking my sweet wife and I'm going to go do something. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But anyhow. And then, Ray, the Power Wash Store will probably kick off in January down in Orlando again, probably. Wow. And I did want to mention before we get rolling that we've got some new classes that are online at the Spray Wash Academy class site. Everett Abrams, the Wizard of Wood, has put on his wood restoration class. That is a really good class. If you're into or thinking about getting into wood, there you go. Also, Michael Draper has put several safety classes online. So we've got the individual safety classes, and then we've got a package for all of the safety classes. Again, there are some discounts for pro members. We've got the pro members get the free, the education employee new hire training class. Yeah. And then we're also working on and should finish up this week an objections in sales class that'll also be free for pro members. What else we got on there, Ray? We got the
Henry is asking for the huge coupon code. Is it still active? And if it was, it's Spray Wash.
Yeah, spray wash is the coupon code. The coupon code, I guess. So before I heard that it worked for like the large packages, and then I heard today that it didn't work. I'm not really sure, but try it on all.
There for a while. I mean, at least for 45 days, we had a special. Right. Was $100 off or something for 2 tickets. Mm-hmm. Don't know if it's still going, but try it. But try coupon code.
Try it. Yep. So. And then we're also working on a class called Drumming Up Business, how to get business, whether you're new or old in the business. Soft washing basics, we already have an asphalt roof cleaning class online. Creating packages is already online. The plant and property protection class is already online. Cashing in on government sales is already online. How to bid and sell is already online. And we talked about the new hire training and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. I think
you've been working really hard, haven't you?
Not really. I've been preoccupied with something. You've been preoccupied. We haven't done a Sunday thing in a little while.
I have. I have given myself a self-imposed ban on moratorium on Facebook, and oh, good. Henry said it still works for $50 off. Awesome. I've not been on Facebook. I've not been on lives. I've not been on around very much. I make my daily post and I answer questions whenever I can. And we're not ready to announce why I haven't done that. We'll all get together and announce that very soon. I'm actually surprised we're not announcing that. Some of my good friends know. Martin's asking me, how is that wine? I'm actually saving that wine for a special occasion. And I'll probably drink that wine whenever we make our announcement. And Corey is right. That is Scotch with a twist of lemon in it. There's just so much going on, and my life's been a whirlwind for the last 45 days or so. And at the same time, my life has changed completely, and my life has not changed whatsoever at all. Really, I was telling Doug before the pre-show, so I'm at Florida State washing today, and there's so much of I always preach, whenever you wash in public spaces, try to do it when the public is not there. Well, doing about a 7-story building there. Some people saw the photographs, and of course I get the complaint. It smells like bleach. We're gonna have to shut you down. Now my project manager, my facilities manager there is very plain spoken, for lack of a better term. And we're talking on the phone, and I didn't want a lot of trouble. I mean, Florida State's such a major thing, and I tell this guy that I don't even know who he is, and he's like, "Well, I may have to evacuate the building. I think it's just best if you get out of here." And I was like, "You realize that the percentage that I'm using is less like a third of Clorox. Like if you took a gallon of Clorox and then poured 4 gallons of water into it, that's the strength of what I'm spraying this building with." Well, it's just a real problem. And part of the issue was they had just replaced their air handlers, their air intake units on there on the side of the building. And it was just, I mean, the fans are working really, really good. So it was sucking the bleach smell in through there. We were using Apple Wash. We had a cover scent. People were complaining. But my actual building manager, my facilities manager, we had 2 projects at Florida State. Part of the project at Florida State, one of the first projects we did was the Westcott building, which is the president's office, which is if you ever look at Florida State University, it's the building right behind the fountain with the 2 spires that's on every publicity photo for FSU there is. It's where the administration is. And so he's telling this building guy, he said, "Let me tell you what," he says, "we just washed the president's office with the same GD thing that we're washing your building with. And if it's good enough for the GD president, then GD, it's good enough for your GD building. You," and it was like, great. I was like, literally, like audience for this discussion.
Now, isn't Florida State the one where you lost the contract at one point in time, some low bid thing where somebody came in and they burned the hell out of everything, and they were supposed to remove bleach from the whole.
That wasn't a contract. That was an individual. That was actually an individual job on there.
Individual bid, yeah.
You're right, and I don't know. It's part of. I have a fairly famous letter that I wrote to the administration and everybody, because we got the word out that we were banning bleach on Florida State's campus. And I pointed out, I said, "Dear sirs and madams, we have worked at Florida State for years and years and years with never so much as a complaint about a damaged leaf. And in fact, we washed the president's house, which there's a facility at Florida State University called the President's House, without us, it's highly landscaped, and they have socials there. They have an ice cream social on the lawn a couple of times a year. There's a knot garden of boxwoods out there. I mean, just think the worst possible landscape scenario you've ever seen." And I pointed out, I said, and this is what we've always used, and we've washed this at least 6 times at this point. And I said, so I would submit to you that it's not a problem of what is being sprayed as much as it is a problem of who is spraying. And that wound up leading to us getting the 5-year contract with Florida State at this point. And we get, every building on Florida State except for the sports, which I don't really want the sports because they tend to go with low bid.
I remember when that first happened, and there's so many other times where I think it's one thing that's always missed, and I used to hear that a lot. Matter of fact, that's one of the things that is talked about in the class that we're getting ready to launch, which I can't think of the name of right at this very moment. But anyhow, how to bid or overcoming objections in sales. When people say, "Well, I've tried bleach, but bleach doesn't work," or you can't use bleach, or it's most of the times it has nothing to do with the bleach. It has to do with who it was that was spraying the bleach. That's really all it boils down to. Even when right before I sold my company, the guy that bought my company had said, his neighbor had his house washed, And after the house was washed, all the grass around the entire house was all burned up over a house wash. It's not the fault of the bleach that burned up the grass.
Exactly.
It was 100% the guy that was spraying it. That's all there is to it.
I mean, we spray bleach on grass all the time, and we don't have issues with it, you know. And
not even slight burns.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, that's an issue of MTH's comment. You know, it's a matter of the plant and property protection. It's a matter of the care and the concern that you're giving the landscaping. It's a matter of understanding the atmospheric, the weather conditions. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. And yes, you will have an occasional issue. Absolutely. You will have that here and there. But you know, there's lots of professionals out there that spray bleach every day without a problem.
And I mean, I would venture to say, you know, it'd be interesting to be able to somehow come up with numbers because I don't know that there would be any way to actually do that. But to come up with the number, especially of the gallons of bleach that are sprayed every single day, but more so the number of jobs that are done every single day industry-wide versus the number of problems.
Right.
And especially if you were to be able to somehow, and I don't think there's any way to get these numbers, but somehow to take it from, you know, guys that have been in business less than a year, you know, guys that have been in business less than 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and be able to somehow create some data as to, you know, and even if there was a way to break it down to between downstreaming and, you know, who's batch mixing and who's proportioning and those kinds of things to come up with numbers. It'll be impossible to do, but I wish there was a way to create that.
It's not what is being sprayed as much as who is spraying it.
Absolutely.
I mean, and you know, from a, you know, I can speak to my company. We spray between 700 to 900 gallons of bleach a week because that's what I take down from Hawkins, and we have very, very few you know, landscape issues at all. I had one, oh goodness, about 2 weeks ago, and the guy says, hey, my bottle brush plants are looking a little rough. And I said, yeah. I said, if you remember, I said that I've got a blooming plant right here, and we could have a little bit. He's like, yeah, you know, you did say that. And I was like, yeah, you know, I mean, and obviously the plants were not an issue whatsoever, but it damaged, you know, the bottle brush itself, you know, the red little bottle brush plant, it was knocking some of those blooms off of it. Yeah, you know, Henry made the comment of Agent Halt as a lifesaver. I put photographs up online the other day. I was literally, I was washing the EPA office. the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, the state arm of the EPA, and you know, I put some photos up of that. I put Agent Halt in a foamer, and I've got this this bank of bird's nest ivy, and I'm literally doing, you know, a courtyard, a 4-story court, really 5-story in some areas, 5-story courtyard all around. So bleach is just flying all over this thing. And I went and put Agent Halt on the plants as a foamer before and after. And I had no problems.
And that's the amazing thing that sometimes I don't think when you get in, especially if you get into a courtyard or a garden area or whatever, where I mean, first of all, you've got a lot of landscaping. And then secondly, you've got the air just seems to swirl inside there that gets on top of the plants, on the bottom of the plant sometimes. And you've got to be a little bit more aggressive in your rinse. And sometimes if you just doing something like that, where you put Agent Halt over the top of it to begin with, and then that way, you know, any bleach that does land on it is kind of more immediately neutralized. And then you got somebody there spraying water at the same time. Most times, if it's a house wash mix, shouldn't be a big problem. But there are some
anyway, if you've pre-watered and pre-wet like you should have. I mean, you know, my guys, you know, the saying that we have is you know, thunderstorm it. And literally before we ever even start washing anything, it looks like a thunderstorm has occurred on that property. MTH just asked Agent Halt Distributors. You can go to agentcleansolutions.com. I think they have a list there. All of the Power Wash store franchises carry that. I know that, and
also check with your if you've got any place locally that sells pressure washing supplies or tools or equipment or whatever. Check with them. We've got in Baton Rouge, we've got Bozeman Distributors. Bozeman Distributors carries Agent Clean Solutions, so they have Agent.
I know Mike with L&H in Savannah, they carry it. I don't know if TJ down at Manatee carries it or not. It's possible, but yeah, a lot of guys. Oh, we got the famous Bobby Walker.
Bobby Walker is on here. So we were just talking about how you suck with the
huge convention.
You know. Yep. Hey, I do want to mention, Jody is saying the air handlers swirl the air. Yeah, and one of the things that, Ray had said in the very beginning there was that, they had just changed out their filters or whatever. You got to be really careful and cautious.
Brand new badass fans, Yeah.
You got to be really, really careful around air handlers that are sucking air in, and you can create the smells. That's why, I love Apple Wash, and I love Apple Wash not just because of the coloring, but because of the masking scent. And those are those are some of the reasons that we like it.
I'm right here. I'm sorry, I said it.
Bobby finally saying, "Hey, I have confirmed some speakers." And one of them is on this video, the ugly one. Oh, man.
I'm sorry, you're a speaker?
Let me rephrase that. The ugliest one. He did it. He said it. Love you, Bobby. You still suck.
Yeah, I want to tell y'all a little secret that we used to use on so working around air handlers. And this is commercial for commercial things. Now, keep in mind, if someone has a bleach allergy, this is one of the reasons that you should
big difference.
Notify if you have a bleach allergy, stay home, or better yet,
vacate.
Work on the weekends or when the building is empty. This will not help someone with a bleach allergy. And believe it or not, there are actually a couple of people out there in the nation. I think there's 3. They all live in Tallahassee that have bleach allergies. But something that we used to do when we were working in very public spaces and we had to work during the week and we couldn't do that is we would take a scent, take a cover scent as you would, and we would spray it into the air handler before we would start spraying our mixture. And you couldn't use Apple Wash, obviously, because there's a dye, but you could use the Apple Boost, which Power Wash store sells, which is the actual which is the scent that's in Apple Wash. So you can take that in a pump-up sprayer and spray that into the air handler, and it will introduce a cover smell of apple into the air system, and then you can soft wash at your leisure without necessarily the complaints of a bleach smell on there.
The other thing you could do is use the Purex crystals. They put out a really good aroma. As far as very pungent aroma, but they wear out pretty quick. That's the problem with them, and unless you step on them. Once you step on them, it re-releases, and so you could do that in that area. And then that way, as you're walking around that area, it helps re-release that aroma.
Tommy Tuna, Tom Jurek. I love me some Tom. He was a building engineer for 28 years. So, Tom, that actually, you might want to reach out to Henry with that comment that he fried an AC unit today. To prevent that in the future, you can tape up the box, but this is actually the unit itself. That's a tough one. I mean, one of the things you can do is to have the customer turn off the AC, and you can drape it in plastic.
That also depends on if we're talking about, I mean, is it an AC unit or is it an air handler? I mean, an AC unit, this last year, 2020, so one of the customers that we do a lot of their buildings every year, we fried like 4 air conditioners this year or last year, but it wasn't our fault. And the reason being is because sometimes, they get these guys that go in there and they do these repairs real quick. And what it was turning out to be on several occasions, you've got a capacitor, and the capacitor is supposed to be this way with the prongs facing downward. Yep. And they went in and they replaced the capacitors and just let them hang by their wires. And so you've got the 2 pieces up here. It's got a cap on it, kind of, and they filled full of solution, and pow! That's not something that's our fault. And our customer knew that. You take pictures. You've got to, but that's AC units, not air handlers, kind of a thing. A little bit of a different thing. Yeah,
and so again, we've talked about draping them, but obviously, if you're talking about an air handler, if you're talking about a residential unit, you need to, have the customer turn it off. Otherwise, when it kicks on, your plastic blows away. But you can cover them with plastic. That's also a reason, Henry, that you have insurance. And I don't mean to be flippant about that at all, but this is a thing where we are spraying bleach and water. Even if we were just spraying water, shit happens, stuff happens, right? And now you can go and fight. You can go and fight it and, oh, this wasn't my fault, this is blah blah blah, or you can suck it up and pay for it. And I mean, crap happens on this job. That's one of the reasons that I've always been so absolutely anal about saying, guys, you need insurance to start out with. You need insurance if you're going to get in this business.
Right. You think people sue people for stupid stuff sometimes?
You think?
I'm just saying that you really should have insurance because you have no idea what you're going to end up being sued for. Why
you really don't? You think you could be sued for like just expressing your opinion or something? Yeah. I don't know.
Anything can happen in today's day and age. So keep that in mind. Make sure that look. We've been preaching insurance, and what's the cheapest form of insurance? Digital pictures.
There was a picture in Spray Wash Academy last week where a guy had sat there and said, he had taken all his before pictures, and the customer said, "Oh, you damaged my siding." And the guy said, "Well, here's the before picture of it," and it clearly showed where the siding was dented up the top from like a tree falling on it. And it's like, that is literally the cheapest form of digital insurance you will ever buy. And I'll tell you another one that I love, and you and I both saw these guys, and this is not a paid endorsement whatsoever. I still haven't signed up for it. I should have, but we've got some things going on in our company, so I did not incur an additional expense. But that company cam that you and I saw in Myrtle Beach,
I like that a lot.
Cool ass program. It was like what, $20 a month or something?
I think it's $16 a month per user, $16 or $19 a month. Maybe 19. I think it is. I think it was 16. Now it's 19. When we went to that event, I thought that this was something that was brand spanking new, right? And that those 2 young kids were part of it. And when I realized, and I was looking at what they had and all that, I'm like, do you guys need some cash? Because I'm here to invest in this. And they looked at me like, no, we just work here. It's been going on for a while. It's a company cam. Again, I don't physically use it. Matter of fact, just the other day, I pitched it to the owner of Cajun Soft Wash. I get nothing out of it, but I think it has a tremendous value to it. And man, if I were there, I would definitely be using it.
There's a couple of guys, Tommy saying it, and Williams Washing is saying it, that it rocks. And I know that Bobby Walker uses it as well. Mm-hmm. Bobby has sat there and sent me, literally, he's like, hey, walked me through this job. Martin. Guys, if y'all don't know Martin Rhodes, Martin is kind of freaking incredible. I mean, this is a guy that has an amazing business, like a business much larger than most of us will ever dream of having. Listen to what Martin tells you. Complete class act person right there.
And totally going with
company. It's great because you can line up the perfect before and after. Mm-hmm. Bobby has sent me things on, he's like, hey, Ray, talk to me, walk me through this project. Let's talk about this. This is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, which, let me do a shameless plug. As a Spray Wash Pro member, you get me and Doug and other Spray Wash Pro members, all helping you bid on projects. And whenever you get something that's weird, we can say, okay, take me some pictures. Let's look at it. Bobby will send me the link to his company cam and send me 40, 50 photos. And I can say, hey, yeah, look here. Let's look at this. Send me a picture, going west down the ramp of that garage, et cetera. And it really helps us help you.
You can do it. And I don't have it, so I don't know all of the features of it, but just what we saw there at that convention, it was mind blowing. I mean, I love the way that it takes the picture. Like, let's say that this was my picture, and I can pull up that picture, and now I can go and it fades this picture out. Yep. So that I can take my next picture right behind, and I can line it up so that I can get as close to that same shot as possible.
Same angle.
I think it's
a
really good idea.
Like, okay, when I first started out, I would get old Budweiser cans out of the truck, and put them in the yard. I'm kidding. But yeah, you would get like a little piece.
We used to use those flags, those little flags.
Like, no, I ain't putting this beer can in your yard right here. I'm using it to mark my where I took my picture from. But no, and then that's one of the great things.
Scotch bottles, let's be honest.
Yes, before pictures, guys, if you're not taking, and I don't mean like one or two before pictures, I mean dozens and dozens of before and after pictures of jobs.
I can tell you right now that we just had recently somebody that I consider to be a really good friend, and I think he's smart, all that kind of stuff. And he sent us something and said, what do you guys think of this? And is this my fault or whatever it was? I don't know if you remember who that was, Ray, but we were both like, don't you have any more pictures? And that person's like, no, that's the only ones I took. That person's on here, by the way. So anyhow, man, digital pictures, they don't cost you anything, right? Click, 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 click. And now you've got 1,000 pictures that tell a story that say, I didn't do that or I did do it. So it can be a double-edged sword, but if you did do it, you want to admit to it anyhow. You want to take care of your customer, right? Because you're building a business for tomorrow and not just for today. But you have to be able to, and if you want help with something, we can't help you as well if you send one photograph. Or if you post one photograph in a group, the group's like,
I had a really good friend, and the other day, and he called me. He's like, what do you think about this? They're saying we damaged their siding. And he had one crappy picture, and then he's like, but yeah, like zoom into it. And this is a guy that I know is a really competent washer, and he has really competent crews, but his crews did not take a lot of pictures of the offending problem. I was just looking at my phone. I wasn't being rude looking down, but so right here on my phone, that is like 1/8 of the building right here. Just from here to here, there's 24, 30 photos, different angles on one side of the building. So the building has like 8 sides. That's just of one side of the building that I took photographs of. Dave Nazat and Papa Puff, congratulations on
man, that's awesome.
You made that. We are so proud of you. We've been talking about you, and you rock.
That's so awesome.
Absolutely.
What Dave needs that landed is awesome. He deserves it, number
You're
one.
incredible. You're absolutely incredible, man. I'm so proud.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Very
Yeah, metal flags. I mean, if you don't want to go to company cam, take you one of those little, you can get for like $9 a bundle of landscaping flags like that big from Lowe's, and you know, stick it there in the yard whenever you take your before picture, and you go back to that flag and take another, you know, photograph of it.
And even if you don't want to use the flags, I mean, it's so easy to get in the habit of taking pictures from the same location all the time, or finding something that is oddball. So as an example, if you stand right smack directly in the middle of the driveway, you can snap a picture. You know that you always take that picture. If it's got a back patio, and you know that you always go stand at the corners of the back patio, or if there's a drain in the yard, you always go stand on the drain and take the picture. So at least you have a generalized area. If there's a fence, I always go to the last corner post of the fence, you know, and I can do both of those to get my wide angles, you know. So you can do that. And that's for getting your afters, but getting your before pictures of like all the different plant life and all the problems with the house or whatever, you don't have to remember those locations. It's just simply go around, click.
That's Bill was sitting there typing this in as you were saying that, and literally get yourself get into a rhythm of what you're doing, and start, you know, because I'll do this to property managers whenever I take photographs, and I'll start, and I typically will either go clockwise or counterclockwise whenever I take my pictures. And so whenever I send them, because you understand, I mean, pictures aren't just for your insurance purposes to save your ass, but pictures can be for the bidding purposes. And whenever somebody wants to sit there and complain about your bid, and why are you so high? Well, you see this little notch out right here. So on every project, I mean, I'll start, and I'm right-handed, so I typically actually go counterclockwise, but I start at the front of the project, and then I take pictures all the way around back to where I get to 6 o'clock, you know, on the back side of it, taking these photographs.
Yeah, you know, it's so amazing to me that people don't take more and more photos and more photos, because they are even if it's not for insurance purposes. The other thing that I'm surprised of is a lot of guys still not using software to watermark their photographs. And this isn't just about posting online. Look, if you're not, one of the things that you should be doing with those photographs, you get those before and after photographs and you send them watermarked to the client. Have you ever had that thing where you go and you meet with somebody and say, well, I had my house washed 2 years ago, but I don't remember who did it. And then you're standing there going, crap.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, you know how big I am. We have in Pro, we have the examples of in Spray Wash Pro about, you know, the before and afters. And that's one of the things I can't tell you how many times, like Tanya has screamed at me about, okay, you're not home for Sunday family dinner, but I am absolutely anal about going into the office, you know, at 5, 6 o'clock on a Sunday, whenever we're getting done with a big project, and doing the before and after portfolios to send to the project manager from that weekend. So the first thing they open up that Monday morning is the jobs, the before and afters of the jobs that we did that weekend. And it's not just like an email with that. It's actually a PDF that they can forward to other people. It's a PDF that, I mean, I've literally had managers pass around my PDFs like trading cards going, oh yeah, yours looks good. Look what Spray Wash did to mine. Oh yeah, look what Spray Wash did to my job. You know, that's kind of a good feeling. Sit there and
hey, Tom, you can go ahead and post your code here if you got it, brother. I mean,
absolutely.
We get nothing out of company cam, paid endorsement or anything like that. Ray and I both saw it at the convention, and we were both like, man, this is awesome. Yeah. And now I'm seeing it like pretty regular. I'm seeing people talking about it. And Tom, if you got a code, man, post it up and
post it up. We'd love to share it out for you.
In there and going and all that kind of fun stuff.
Henry saying posting on GMB. I don't know what GMB is. What is GMB? Am I missing some industry term?
Good Morning Burke.
Oh.
Kind of like Good Morning America, except it's Good Morning Burke. I don't know what GMB is either.
No idea.
What is GMB? Google My. Oh, geez. We're not very smart. Google My Business.
Google My Business. Oh, I got it.
We are not very smart. That's just, let's just get that out the way right now.
I'm actually amazed. I get the Google My Business all the time.
It's a good tool.
It really is. I get those notifications from them all the time going, wow, your post was seen 400 times, 500 times. I'm just like, really?
Yeah, you should be adding content to it. That's a fact.
You know, and Henry's asking if I have a good software because, you know, in Pro, we teach about how to do one on Mac. I do not have, in Pro, we actually go through a tutorial of how to do that on Mac. Henry, I do not have one for Windows. I don't. I'm sorry.
Windows. Do you have a good software to make that PDF on Windows? So what is he trying to turn into? Oh, just
not photos on doing a PDF photograph. But I would assume
that's actually really easy to do. All you have to do is if you put your photos onto a single document, if you will, you just click Save As, and then you save it as a PDF. It may not. I'm sure that there's a better program out there. I don't know of it. But you can do that you can even twist and turn your pictures and all that kind of thing, and then just save it as a PDF. That's all you got to do.
The other thing you can do too is get yourself a iPad. Hell, you could do it on an iPhone if you want to. I'm too old and my eyesight sucks. But get yourself an iPad through Verizon, you know, and tack it onto your bill, and pages will come on that. You can literally do it from the truck. You know, and bat. Because once you get the format started on there, now all you're doing is just replacing the pictures and renaming the file. And you save it as a PDF, and yeah.
And if you're not sharing that with your customers, your residential, commercial, industrial.
Yeah, even residential, not just commercial, because residential guys will share it with their friends as well.
Absolutely. And you should be putting it on your Facebook pages. You should be putting it on your Google My Business page.
Yeah.
Should be. I mean, you may not do Google My Business every day. You may not do your Bing page every single day. But these are places you should be putting it on a regular basis. And Facebook, I would say, you know, I mean, the more the better. I mean, I'll say that. And then again, I'm just going to say it. Quit inviting all your friends from way outside your area that have no knowledge of your area, don't care about your area, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God, that's a great topic to get into.
No, it's not. Hey, but Scott joined us. There's a good thing, right?
Well, I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Oh no. What's he going to do now that Scott's involved? Oh, no. Jacob Deal says, I am poor and I can't afford me no Verizon. See how you are, son. I'm going to go back in the comments a little bit because I know there was quite a few that I think we've missed. I do want to touch back on one thing real quick. Let me go back to Bobby Walker and let me talk about where did it go? Look, so Bobby said, and there's so many things in here I'm not going to try looking it up. But Bobby said that the huge convention is going to be releasing pretty soon who the speakers are, all that kind of fun stuff. Look, just like I said in the very beginning, if you weren't part of it, I know if you've gone to the huge page and you haven't seen any updates yet, that kind of a thing, don't worry about that. It's the same as it is every year. There's a reason for doing that. There's a process for doing that. The huge convention is awesome. It has been every single year, except for last year because of COVID, right? I think this year is going to be super huge, super big, super awesome. And I can't stress enough that just get your ticket and plan on going. You're going to meet some amazing people. You're going to meet people that you are in your area, that are out of your area, that are 2 truck companies, 1 truck companies, 30 truck companies, whatever the case may be. And don't worry about the small stuff as to exactly who the speakers are, other than the day before the paid classes, okay? Because you want to know about those, but I don't know if those are already on there. If not, we've been letting you know what we're going to be doing. So we're going to do the plant and property protection class. We're going to do a basics class. And do a free class for
pro member. We're going to do something cool for pro members. It may be a happy hour. It may be a mastermind. We're not quite sure what we're going to do with the pro members.
We're going to do something
really cool with the pro guys. So talking about Scott, and Scott, I apologize. I haven't talked to you lately. Scott, and if you don't know Scott, Scott is an amazing person. Scott owns businesses that the average person here listening will never own. He's amazing, you know, and he's one of those guys that has listened. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take credit for doing it. Scott's amazing, but Scott's one of those guys who sits there and says, "Yeah, I can do that." And then not only does he do it, but he takes it and does it. I mean, you know, amazing, you know, so I'm not going, "Oh, Scott listened to me and he's successful." Not at all, because Scott's freaking amazing. But Scott sent me a present the other day, and it's called a rip saw. And I have not responded to Scott's text because I've been a little bit busy. And Scott, I owe you a phone call. But look at this. This is a hydro excavator pressure washing tip. And I appreciate Scott so much, but I just went and got it because it was sitting on my office here. But look at this bad boy. Oh, hold on. I got it upside down. So this thing will actually help you cut out dirt. It will help you cut out all. It's basically a turbo tip on steroids, because this is all steel construction on this. This isn't some little silly like plastic thing that falls apart. But it's called a rip saw. I have not had the opportunity to use it yet. But if Scott uses it, I trust it. And I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you very much.
I sent him parts and I didn't get one. I'm just saying. I think he's probably going to make some comment. You know, you don't even have a pressure washer anymore, so why would you want one?
What are you going to use?
Scott, man, I appreciate you, brother. I see where we're at. I got
what are you going to use it with, Doug? Huh? You don't own a pressure washer.
Man, I could put it on my thing behind me, right? I mean, you know.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to actually fire this thing up. So
I'm just
saying. Tommy knows the rip saw. So
the rip saw. I saw that on a maybe it was Scott that sent it to me, that had sent me a video about it. I don't remember, but I had seen that somewhere. Maybe it was Scott that had sent me something to show. But I did. I watched something about the rip saw, and it was really, really cool, man. It could rip. I mean, take the red tip, the zero tip, the Zorro tip, whatever you want to call it, throw it out the window, because there's a new baby in town.
Well, you know, I did a video. It was probably 6 months ago in pro, and we had a driveway problem. You know, where a driveway comes in, and the landscape had grown up. And I went and said, like, look, guys, you know, a lot of people, you don't want to leave the mud here. Sometimes you have to hydro excavate, for lack of a better term. And you cut a trench. You literally cut a trench.
Mm-hmm. Done it many times.
And people don't think about it. Well, you know, I don't want to mess up their grass. The grass will grow back, guys. You have to either find a way to remove the water from that. You can either drain it off or you can suck it off.
And even if you do either of those two options, it just keeps draining back in, and it's going to be there when you're done. So if you cut a trench, and it doesn't even have to be a big trench, you can literally just cut a 1-inch, trench, and just something to allow that water to drain out. I mean,
that's why, you know, we've got videos over there on Pro about, you know, one of the most valuable tools you'll ever have is the damn it, the not the sump, but the sump that goes into your pressure washer that shoots crap out. That uses
the sludge sucker.
The sucker. Yeah,
sludge sucker. Yeah, sludge sucker. Say that 3 times fast, Raven. You've had a couple of drinks.
Sludge sucker. Yeah.
There you go. No, the sludge sucker works really good. I like it. We used it. We had a interior warehouse that we had to clean out, and so we had to take it was like 500 foot of drain hose to get and suck that stuff out, and it was able to push it all the way out. So I also used it to clean out the bottom of my pool. I used a dewatering bag, pumped it all into a dewatering bag, and right back into the pool. We had when it flooded here in 2016 and all that crap went in the pool, we had to find some way to get it out. So sludge suckers work good. And now there's the ripsaw.
Property protection. One of the things we talk about in that class today, I literally used it. So I mentioned earlier in this video how FSU is very, very anal, at least their environmental services, about letting anything go down, a drain. So I put my mat over the drain. It was covered. And then I made a berm area, and I took that U-line, the tubing we talk about in property, and I made my own berm bags out of that. I can make whatever size I want. And we made a couple of so I considered the mat my primary, and then I put a circle around it to be my secondary, and then I put a tertiary, which was like a C where the water was coming in that I could then catch and suck
it out,
toss out to a landscape area. But it was all made with those U-line, 4-inch tubes that you can make whatever size you want out of there. You could all
tie up the ends of it, fill them full of water.
Yeah, exactly. Make
create dams with them, all that kind of thing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this stuff with channeling into, Scott saying because Scott's like we wash. We washed Florida State. Scott washes University of Miami. We have very similar businesses in that respect, except he's about 20 times huger than I ever was. This is where, as a washer, understand, I mean, there's great money to be made, but any guys that are out there washing, there's money that you've never even considered to be made that's out there. And
Scott's one of those guys that goes out and thinks about those and does that.
Exactly. I mean, Doug, you've done that. Mm-hmm. You've done that. Your company, whenever you sold it, was to the point that would blow most people's mind. Mm-hmm. But, well, holy crap, you actually did that much. No, you're full of crap. You didn't. Well, I know you did. My company,
those numbers.
My company, I'm kind of there too, but Scott has surpassed us through all dreams and imaginations we've ever had. So
and Scott says it's about knowing when to pivot. It's not just about knowing when to pivot, Scott. It's about, Scott's very diversified in many different things. And he does think outside the box, and, I don't want to talk about his business, and what he does and how he does. But, just one of the things we were talking about recently that he's just like, well, all I did was this. And it's like, well, yeah, that's so keep it simple, stupid. It's not necessarily thinking outside the box. It's thinking inside the box. But, sometimes we're trying to think of, man, how do I do this or how do I do that or whatever? When it's keep it simple, stupid, it's right there in front of you. And so,
well, it's the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And whenever you leverage those relationships. I mean, I literally know that I know guys that have made washing companies and very, very successful washing companies based on the property managers or who they have known going, we need this. We need this service. I know guys that have $1 million window cleaning companies because literally somebody mentioned to them, we need this. And I think Scott in a lot of ways is like that because his company is very diversified and they say, hey, we like you. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. But whenever you get into a company, whenever you get in and prove yourself as a reputable vendor, like to Florida State University, to University of Miami, to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital.
That's your job to lose.
Exactly. And they'll say, like, I made in the 5 figures last year of cutting caulk out of windows for one particular hospital because I'm their kind of go-to do-boy guy. Is it washing? Probably not. But we had to put negative air return systems into windows. And 10 years prior, somebody caulked the windows shut. Mm-hmm. So who are they going to call? They wind up calling me to go out there and cut the caulk out of the windows.
So it's like same thing for us where you sometimes, I don't necessarily want to be in certain lines of work and I don't want to do certain things. But when your good customers call you and they say, hey, who do you know for this? If it's something that can fit in your wheelhouse, by all means, stick it in there. I mean, I like to be, so that a little bit gets into that diversification kind of a thing, but it's not just about diversifying at that point. At that point, it's also making sure that you're taking care of your customers and you're building the relationships with them and those sorts of things to where this doesn't fit in Doug's wheelhouse, but I know he's going to find me somebody that can do it. So they're going to call me anyhow, and then I'm just going to go and do it.
They'll trust you. They literally will trust you. Somebody on there, and it says Facebook user because we're on StreamYard. They haven't downloaded the app, but I'm breaking into schools, 2 schools. Now you got to figure out how to do it. Doug, you've had a little experience with schools, right?
A little bit.
A little bit.
I love school.
They called you for everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the point of school systems and government work and even some of your bigger contracts that you're going to pick up. One of the biggest and best things that you can do for them, and I know Ray and I have been preaching this for years, find something wrong. Right? Not something wrong that you did, but something that's wrong with the property. That's a good way to land projects as well. You happen to be, when I was in Tallahassee and we were driving around and they had a big building where that capping was falling off. Man, if you see something like that on a job that's not yours, take pictures of that kind of stuff. Take pictures and just send it to them. Hey, happen to be driving by your building, saw this. And your email signature should be there to say, hey, Doug Gore, Spray Wash Academy, Spray Wash Pro, whatever. So you're telling them about a problem that they have. You're not selling them anything. You're not trying to sell them anything. The other thing that I do when you're dealing with a lot of these school systems or government jobs or bigger jobs where you have a property manager, that property manager manages 10, 20, 30, 50 different properties. Okay. Then you're going to send him a picture and say, hey, I got this clock that I see that's falling down at your property. And he's going to be like, okay, great. Where is that at? Right. Do yourself a favor. Point to the clock, take the picture, back up 30 feet, take another picture, back up another 30 feet, take another picture, showing him the exact location and letting them know exactly where it's at on the campus so that they can just call somebody up, send the pictures out. Hey, Doug sent me these pictures. This is exactly where it's at. I know exactly what the problem is, exactly what to do. You got a friend for life.
Some of my accounts, I have been through 3 and 4 and 5 property managers. I've literally been working there. I've been passed down from manager to manager to manager. And it's such an absolutely blessed feeling to say, well, Ray, we need help with this. Where is this room located at, or how is access at this? They rely on you, but you need to interject yourself as part of that solution. I mean, that's why you need to be reaching out to these guys and saying, I've been on this campus for X number of years. I know where the secret passages of the Johnson building are, or I know that where the breaker for this room is, because I've actually tripped it before. I mean, but things like that. But you can make yourself such an integral part of their facilities. They're not going to call anybody else.
You can make yourself a very valuable asset just by the things that you find and you do. We've got one of the places we do business with. We do their bleachers every year, and every year I can tell you I find areas that are hazards. They're dangerous, and we did one here I guess last year as well, where they had a handicap ramp. And the handicap ramp was pretty rotted. And there was one area where, somebody had already stepped through this area, and they've got it covered with this material and all this kind of thing. So they don't even see it. Right. So, I go and I show them, and then even get up underneath and show them the pictures of, hey, this thing is rotted. This thing is a safety hazard, and it's a wheelchair ramp to begin with. And so now, again, this is already somebody that I couldn't lose the job if I probably tried. But every time I do that, I just reinforce my value, even though they already know what my value is. I'm reinforcing that value, and you should be doing that, because most of the time, like I said, when you get these jobs, they are absolutely yours to lose. And it's your fault if you lose them.
Barney just said, my wheelhouse is making money, meeting a client's needs for service no one specializes in and pays well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Past I didn't post pictures because it was kind of gross, but about 3 weeks ago, we had a spate of shootings in Tallahassee. And for whatever reason, we had a bleeder in the ambulance bay at one of my hospitals. Then we had 2 more shootings where they threw the guy in the car and they drug him into the front door of the emergency room. And then the day after that, we had a stabbing at a local apartment complex, and the guy got stabbed on the 2nd floor deck, and he bled out onto the 1st floor. Those jobs pay really, really, really well. Understand, and the specialty acts, it's where the money is.
Yeah, a lot of times people say, and again, those that know me know I say it all the time. If you go someplace and you think to yourself, man, I don't want to do that, or I'm not doing that job. Think about all the other contractors. They're all saying the same thing you are. I'm not doing that job. Man, I don't want to do that job. The guy that's willing to do that job is the guy that's getting paid. That's the guy that's making money. And so you can take a job that you would charge $10 for, and you can charge $40 or $50 because they can't get anybody.
When an emergency comes in, they're not sitting there shopping for
they don't care.
A low bid. I mean, Alan Paul, I've gotten jobs I never would have dreamed of bidding on 2 years ago. But again, TJ, look what TJ is saying. I don't present problems. I present concerns and offer a solution. Let them know.
Just because you're smarter than me.
Guy, you are the guy to go to for problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And TJ's right. I can honestly say I feel like just off of that comment TJ said, I did it wrong. Even though I did it, it worked very powerfully for me. I shouldn't be presenting them with problems, so to speak, just like he's saying. You should be bringing it up and saying, these are the concerns and offering them solutions for them, or I mean, again, just letting them know that they have these concerns instead of problems. That's probably a better way to say that.
Wild West said something, but I want to point out something that Ron Smith said. This is so important. I mean, if you guys don't know Ron Smith, you should know Ron Smith.
Good to know him.
Ron Smith is the paver guru of the world. And if you don't know, if you want to get into paver and paver sealing, join Ron Smith's network. Mm-hmm. Ron is amazing. But he said you can be a niche server provider without having to take the jobs that nobody else wants. Mm-hmm. I agree. Niche marketing is the way to go. So you can market yourself as a biological cleanup specialist. Does that mean you only deal with biological cleanups? No. You can market yourself as a high work specialist. Does that mean you only deal with high work? No. But it's good to take on a specialty that you can do, because now you get that work, but you get opportunities.
I think that this is a good thing right here. So look, we got the two spectrums right here, right now, that I think are really good. Okay. So you got Ron Smith, and Ron is sitting there saying, hey, this is all I do. This is like, what is it? It's not Chick-fil-A. What's the other one? The one with the dog, the chicken place with the dog. What's that?
Chicken place with the dog.
Canes. You got Canes where you are? You know what Canes is?
I've been to Canes.
Okay. So Ron Smith is like Canes here in Louisiana. What I mean by that is very simply that Canes is a fast food restaurant, right? They serve chicken fingers. That's it. They don't sell chicken patties. They don't sell hamburgers. They don't sell nothing. They sell nothing but chicken fingers. That's it. Okay. That is their niche. That's all they do. They might have the little auxiliary things that go with it, fries, whatever, but really that is it. That's all they do. And then you got Scott over here who does anything and everything. And I think that this is kind of that important thing. Okay. I do believe that if you stick with one thing, like I specialized in soft washing. I was trying not to go too far into other things because I wanted that to be my specialty. And it worked out very, very well for me. Okay. And then you can get into the other side where, hey, I want to be really, really super diversified, get into all kinds of different things. Both of those business models can work. I think where people go wrong too is when they don't, when they try to not really mingle and mesh them correctly, right? So you can go I want to be really diversified thing, but you've got to really focus and you can go the other side where you're just super focused on one thing. It's in that middle where you can get mixed up and tangled up, and you have to stay focused in what it is that you're doing. Otherwise, that's when it blows up. That's how I see it. And that's where I look at.
As long as you're equipped to there's so many good comments coming in right now. First, I want to address what you're talking about. But Tommy put that the thing for company cam. Click on that. I hope Tommy gets a commission on that.
Me too.
Jump all on it. TJ said he's smart once a month. Write that down. I'd say TJ once every 2 months, maybe. Scott said this right here. It's not about price. It's about availability. Mm-hmm. And damn it, yes, it is. I get downright embarrassed when I charge people sometimes, but you're right. Once they trust you, they trust you. And it's there was ironically, I'm gonna show you all this here. I'm gonna try to flip this around on my thing. I had it was a hustler. The Hustler store, okay?
The Hustler store.
The Hustler store, like the Larry Franklin. Remember the old Hustler magazine?
Yeah.
You ain't getting off to.
I don't know who that guy is.
Well, yeah. So see that little graffiti tag right there, the one that says, I'm going to scroll in here, 1 KB. Now I want to scroll out to show you how small that 1 KB is. It was right there, you know? $275 for us today for 30 minutes with one man. And I literally pulled him off of a job. I was like, go do that.
If you're not doing graffiti removal, you really, really should do if you're in this industry. I know one of my best clients, I mean, and how I landed this thing in particular with him, so somebody went out and they spray painted FUCK on the side of some brick. So he had one of his own guys go out there to remove this FUCK, and he went out there with a red tip, and he proceeded to remove all of the paint, and he did a very good job of removing all the paint. You could not see the words FUCK in paint, but you can absolutely see them etched permanently in the brick. So we had to go out and we had to damage the rest of the brick in a nice fashion.
Just feather it out and not reverse impress FUCK.
Yeah. And so he had the other side of his building that had all these tags on it. And the side of the building was probably, I don't know, the tags were maybe 3 to 4 feet and then maybe 30 feet kind of a thing. And $1,600 and something bucks we went out there, and I went out by myself. And it took me maybe 4 or 5 hours to do that job.
Yeah.
$1,600 and something bucks.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so Dave, as Papa Pup was saying, 2 property managers live in Cali, 4 strip malls. They call me for my service they need. Anything they want, they call him, because trust. You literally have a trust relationship. And what I was saying before, like, those managers may have gotten fired, but they trust Dave. Dave is in their emails, the old guy's emails. You know, Ron said, love you guys. And you know what, Ron, we love you too. We know you're the best at paver sealing there is. And if you want to get into paver sealing, contact Ron Smith, join his network. He will keep you so busy, it's not even funny. Scott says, basically, you're a backwards hick.
Hey, you know what, Scott? I'm still waiting for my chop saw or my jigsaw. Or my rip saw.
No, it's a rip.
I mean, after everything I sent you. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, there you go. I get nothing but headaches and grief.
All right, TJ's leaving us. All right, well, whatever. Acetone in a spray can, yeah, actually works pretty good.
If you're selling yourself, they will come to you with the service you need, not searching out for another service provider. That is so true.
You know what? You know the Kevin Costner line in the old, the movie, build it and they will come. When you build your company, they will come to you.
They will come.
Whenever you prove that you are a service provider, they will come to you. It's just that simple.
And we're not talking about a guy that's been in business for 10 or 20 years. That's not it. You can be in 10 and 20 years and not build a business. And you can build a business with one truck.
You can build a business in 1 year. You can build a business in half a year.
But my point is that just because somebody's been out there for 20 years doesn't mean they've built a business. They could have built themselves a job, because they're not taking care and they're not interacting with their clients.
If the name of your company is $99 soft washing, and all you're worried about is churning.
That's all you're going to do.
Building. But, and I don't mean to be specific about anything, but whenever you develop the relationships, whenever you sit there and you are the guy, bingo. You know what? Henry's my little buddy. Henry's my protege. I want Henry, pro member. Henry is here in Tallahassee. Mm-hmm. Henry's exactly right. There's lots of guys in Tallahassee who have been here for 20 years. Mm-hmm. They've not done what I've done in 10 years. They've not done, and I'm not saying, oh, I'm good, I'm special at all. But it depends on your attitude. It depends on your altitude. It depends on so much how you want to approach business on this. Because there's $99 guys who have been $99 guys forever. And they don't get called back. They're a one and done people.
Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between a business, building a business and being in business.
Yeah.
If you're the one and done guy and you're not getting those return phone calls, you're just in business. You're not building a business. Okay. And you can build a business with a single truck or with 30 trucks. You can still build a nice business. But if you go 20 years and you're a single owner operator, there should be a zero advertising budget. If you're going to stay as one truck and that's all, you should have so much business coming back because you've built a business. If that's the case,
it's interesting because I'm going to mention this for what it's worth, and I'm going to be as
see you, Papa,
delicate about it as I can. There was somebody that asked me about purchasing my business. And they said, where's your marketing budget at? And I said, well, I don't really have a marketing budget. I don't spend any money on Google ads. I don't spend any money on this or that or door hangers. Or I don't have a $3,000 Groupon, et cetera, et cetera. And the comment back to me was, well, that's a problem for us looking at purchasing your business, because I know that if you would have had a Groupon that resulted in $75,000 worth of business, if you would have had a Yelp that resulted in $25,000 worth of business, if you would have had all of these different, marketing things that you tracked and said, I got this from this, and I got this from this, and I got this from this, we would be very interested in buying your business. However, if I look at it from another standpoint of the person wanting to buy the all over business, they're not worried about those individual little things because they understand that the business isn't about one advertising thing. It's about the name
circle.
It's about spray wash. It's about the culture we have created.
Mm-hmm. It's about that repeat business that you get that you don't have to advertise. You don't need that advertising budget. You could take that advertising budget and grow and become bigger and that sort of thing, but you don't have to do that. You don't.
Well, yeah, Alan Paul just sat there and said, and I can't tell you how many times we've gotten the call that says, well, I guess we have to call you. And I was like, I guess we're using you. And I was like, what do you mean? Mm-hmm. Well, I called Bob Soft Wash. I called Fred Soft Wash. I called Jake Soft Wash. And they all said, yeah, we don't handle things like that. You have to call Spray Wash. Mm-hmm. It's a good feeling, but
I'm going to throw this up there because I want to talk about this real quick. And this goes into that. And that is not having a marketing budget. Hey, you took away my thing. Hold on.
I'm sorry. My bad.
We're clicking at the same time. Not having a marketing budget talks a lot about how strong the company is that you have. Yes, but the reason that can be a fear for a large company coming in to buy is that they might fear that if you don't have a marketing budget, you might be centered and focused on too few of a client base. And so if you have one customer that brings you in $100,000 a year, and another customer that brings you in $75,000 a year, and you just focus on those two clients, so you don't really have that advertising budget over here that bringing in more. Their fear is if you lose one of those two clients, you've lost a major part of your business. So that's part of why they want to see this marketing budget that you're bringing in a lot of things from all over the place.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And that's where are you going to be with your business? I mean, because people will say, well, you're so tied into, if you ever sell your business, you might actually see in a contract, like no more of your business goes to 10% or 20% of one customer.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever somebody wants to buy you, they might actually say, things like that in a contract.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something to consider. But what if you are 10% of 8 different clients? That's pretty cool then. They know they love you.
Mm-hmm. There you go. We've been kind of dragging this out for a long time, Ray. We've been out here for an hour and 20 already.
Come on, have we really?
Yeah. We haven't been on in so long. It's natural to just talk and get through.
We wind up talking. The funny part is you and I talk like every 2 days already, but whenever we get on here is we start talking about business.
Yeah.
Because 28 years, I've learned more in the last 3 to 5 years than the years prior. Mm-hmm. Michael, that's awesome. You know what? And I hope we've been part of that. We may or may not have.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm very happy, and I feel like I'm blessed to see those that we've helped, succeed and get even further in business and in line. And for me, it's also a very powerful thing when guys like Scott's got a lot of amazing things going on, and still will call us and ask us for advice on things sometimes. And that to me is I feel blessed, and I feel great about that kind of a thing when we can help and they can help. And it's another amazing thing to me is that people that we've helped mentor and bring up and grow in this business. And then I got a problem and I call them up and say, hey, how do I do this? And they're like, what? Get out of here.
I almost feel like Scott is like just throwing us a bone every now. Hey, how do I do this? Even though he already knows it.
Yeah, he knows everything now.
I mentioned to you that I was at a meeting the other day, and the guy, let me phrase this the right way. I got to think about how to phrase this. I was at a business meeting, and a gentleman approached me, and he said, well, I just sold my business. I said, oh, that's awesome. And he said, and I thought I noticed you. And I was at an event in Orlando, and it turned out it was a power wash store event about 3 years ago. He said, he's a naval pilot. He had just retired. And he said, I listened to everything you had to say, and I just sold my business. And I want to thank you he said, not only I listened to your class, and then I went to your round table afterwards. And then you were actually really kind enough to spend about 30 minutes. And whenever he said that, I remembered who he was. And so we're at this meeting. And I was like, well, I guess the advice is good. He's like, well, obviously we're both here at this meeting, but he had just sold his company in the very high 6-figure range. And I'm not sitting there going, oh, well, listen, we're amazing. But it makes me realize, and it humbles me, but for all the guys out here listening, you realize that, and I understand there's so many guys that have the Lowe's pressure washer that are just starting out, that are dicking around with it.
Okay.
And that's cool. That's so cool. Trust me, I'm the one that started out that way. Doug, you kind of started out that way too.
100%.
you can build this if you just follow the rules. And are there any rules? Not really. I guess we're setting rules for it. But you can build something that is absolutely amazing, that is absolutely valuable, and that is absolutely worth $1 million. And then you can sell that to someone else. And you can live the American dream to where you opened it, you scaled it, you managed it, and you sold it. And that's incredible. Doug, you did that. You did that earlier this year. I mean, and my heart goes out to you. I mean, God bless you, sir.
There you go. And I still have more hair than you do. Wait, let me turn it down.
Here you know.
It's not there. It's not there. Yeah, there you go. You know, I definitely feel blessed to be in this business. I definitely, I've enjoyed the ride quite a bit. It's nice to have gone from nothing to where, you know, I did. I started out with, you know, the $40,000 in credit card debt, verge of losing my house. And, you know, you just got to sometimes grab yourself by the cojones and go. And, you know, there wasn't this, you know, when we started. And
there really wasn't. If you think about it,
you had to learn more from the school of hard knocks.
2009. When did you start? I mean, because you hollered at me, what, 2012 or so? I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, I launched in February of 2013.
Yeah. So it wasn't that far, 4 years after I did, you know. I mean, there's so much of it that it's so much common sense, but sometimes it just helps to listen to guys sit there and say what the common sense is, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, I started off, I couldn't afford a pressure washer.
Yeah.
I actually rented a pressure washer and rented a surface cleaner.
Dude,
I wasn't even making money on the jobs. I just wanted to get the jobs done. And, you know, I was doing my house wash or my roof cleaning or whatever, and I wasn't really making any money on the drive. Not only that, but it would take me hours upon hours to do a driveway because I couldn't afford the good equipment. So I would have to use that little Home Depot pressure washer and the rented surface cleaner and go out, and it would, you know, walking at a snail's pace and that sort of thing. So
I literally, my first surface cleaner that I ever owned was a rental from United Rentals and I literally called the guy and I was like, what if I just don't return this? I was like, I can't afford to buy one, but just can I have an extended rental? And he's like, Ray, listen, I'll just charge you like, you know, $50 a week, and you know, we'll call it good after about, you know, like 6 weeks or so. And I paid.
Oh, looks like his phone must have gone out. So look, the whole moral of this is, and it's you know, you can start with next to nothing, and you can grow to be whatever you want to be. And again, whether it's a single truck or whether it's 20 trucks, you can grow to be whatever it is that you want to be. So now that Ray's out of here, his phone probably died or his thing probably died or something probably happened there, but I'll go over just some things again real quick. And then I'm going to be out of here. We'll be done. So huge convention again coming up. Look, you know, the comments have been made before about, you know, the info not being on the huge convention website. That stuff is coming. You got to give it time. You got to understand that there's a lot that goes into that. It's going to be a huge convention, like it always is. Be there, man. If you haven't gotten your tickets, get your tickets, and know that what is it? You can still use the spray wash code. Get your tickets. It's going to be a good thing. It's going to be, so I encourage you to get there August 17th in Atlanta. The Platinum Property class on the 18th, another couple classes there on the 18th. Huge convention kicks off on the 19th and the 20th. Don't forget about the PW&A coming up in New Orleans, September 8th through the 11th. That'll be at the Hyatt. And then Power Wash store will probably be in January. Don't have dates on that yet. Also, a quick reminder on the Spray Wash Academy site. You've got, if you go to courses.spraywashacademy.com, courses.spraywashacademy.com, there's going to be on there, Everett Abrams, the Wizard of Wood, has loaded up his wood restoration class, so you can take that class. Michael Draper has put in several classes. He's got his rooftop safety class, the water fed safety class, the ladder safety class, residential roof safety class, and then he's got his OSHA 1910 class. All of those classes are in there. We've also got the Overcoming Objections, which should come out by the end of this week. That will be free to pro members. We already have the new hire training that's free to pro members. And then we've got the How to Bid and Sell, cashing in on government sales. If you got any inclination at all about getting into government sales, you really need to take that. Ray Berg, Tanya Berg, they're at the top of the game on that. How to bid and sell jobs, cashing in on the PPP, the plant and property protection class, creating packages. We're going to be launching soft washing basics. It's not ready yet, but it'll be coming out soon. And then we're also working on another one that is drumming up business. And that's going to be how to get business in this industry, whether you're a new guy or an old guy, doesn't matter. You can get those. So I'm going to cut out of here as well. See a question here. Doug, would you ever consider moving and implementing a 36 to 48 month business model over again and search for an investor? I would consider moving. I don't think my wife will, so I'm here. That's the way it is. And then bye-bye Ray. All of a sudden he was gone. Doug, he was renting that phone. Probably. I wouldn't doubt that at all. Dale Johnson said, I got 5 tickets today. Right on, right on. Getting ready to go to the huge convention. And then Scott says, I'm teaching my special class for Dougie. Hey, man, I hope it's that jigsaw, chop saw, something saw, whatever saw, whatever. Jay says, Power Wash Milwaukee has a beginner show this weekend. Boom, there you go. This weekend, beginner show, Power Wash in Milwaukee. Jacob Deal says, well, that solves which one was the ugly one. I don't know that it did. Did it? I know we both know who's the ugly one, right? We all know who's the ugly one. And then, all right. So Wild West says, I will be in Fort Worth Expo. I'm multicam. And then try Kentucky sauce. Look, hey, I appreciate y'all for listening to us. And we're going to do this again. I can't remember if it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday. We've got some other stuff we want to talk about. And we're hoping to have a good big announcement coming out. And so H. Silva is saying, where do you get tickets for the huge convention? You go to thehugeconvention.com, thehugeconvention.com. When you get down to the promo code is Spray Wash. Spray Wash is your promo code, save $50. Hey, I appreciate y'all for listening to us again. I think it's either Wednesday or Thursday night. We're going to do it again. So we're going to try to go live every Monday and either Wednesday or Thursday, whatever it is. I can't remember. Just can't remember. So appreciate y'all. And Dougie Doo's out of here because Ray is already gone. Appreciate y'all.